Alright, coq au vin. The humming you can hear in the background is my fan oven. I've cranked my fan oven up to the highest setting because rather than fry the chicken pieces, I'm going to roast them in the oven very quickly, just to seal the meat. In addition to it, I've got rather a large chicken, and this is about 2 kilograms of chicken, which is what, 4.5 pound chicken. And the reason for that is because traditionally this would have been made with a cock bird, which would have been around about that size. However, cock birds are quite hard to come across at the moment, so I've just got this extra large whole chicken, broiler chicken, which will do the job. In addition to that, I've got some mushrooms, and we're particularly looking for mushrooms with the brown veins on the bottom. That makes it much more close to the traditional and wonderful French recipe. This is classic French, ordinary peasant dishes. The travellers that went from the rest of Europe into France, the first wave of the travellers would have been fairly wealthy people, but they would have travelled and eaten where they could, and they would probably have eaten the food that the peasants were eating, and to put on a special meal for a visiting guest, they would probably have killed a cock and cooked it in their local red wine, hence the name coq au vin. I'm using a French Pinot Noir. It's a red wine. You need a red wine for this. It's a quite nice bright red fruits, layers of spice. Quite a good wine for this. I want to dispel any myths that you might have about cooking wine. If a wine is not good enough to drink, it's certainly not good enough to cook with. So you don't have to lash out on a very expensive bottle, but a good, as the French say, vin ordinaire, an ordinary decent drinking wine will do. In addition to this, I've got some smoked pancetta, which is cut into small pieces. I've got some garlic. There's plenty of garlic in this. It is a peasant dish after all. I've got some thyme, sprigs of thyme, and I've got a couple of small to medium sized brown onions and some parsley to use as a garnish at the end of it. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is to get this chicken cut up and quartered, and then I'll get it in the roasting tin and I'll show you it from there. So here you see I've got the chicken all cut up into fairly small pieces. I've got the onions chopped up. I took 2 of those large portobello mushrooms and cut them into pieces like that. My pancetta is ready to go. The garlic is all chopped up, and the chicken fat, which I've saved, that also we'll be using that. And first of all, before I start roasting this, and my oven is insanely hot at the moment, but I'm going to get on some nice black pepper. I use quite a lot. You use as much as you like, but I'd probably go a little bit overboard on the black pepper for myself. And you'll need some salt on that. So you're going to use about 1.5 teaspoons of salt just to dress it with, and I'm using what the Americans like to call kosher salt. It's flakes of sea salt, and I'm going to put a glug of olive oil on that. So how much? About 4 tablespoons, I would have said. 3 or 4 tablespoons. Now I just want to get in down and dirty, mix all that together, make sure it's all coated, all those lovely pieces of chicken, spread it out nicely, and now that will go into the oven for about 30 minutes and until 25 to 30 minutes until the edges of that are starting to brown. We're not trying to cook it all the way through, but we want to get it started. We want to punch some flavour into that chicken. Okay, into a hot, large saucepan, I want to put in a glug of olive oil and all my pancetta. It's about 100 grams of pancetta, something like that. A 2-inch cube of bacon cut up into little pieces, same thing. And then into that I'm going to put my chicken fat. That's some of the fat that I rescued while I was recovered while I was cutting up the chicken. This is a wonderful classic French country peasanty dish, and really it's dishes like this that put France on the map as being one of the great cuisines of the world. Once you've got a nice turn on the bacon, in with your onions. And stir that in, keep it moving. Just get a turn on your onions. Lovely smell now, the onion and the bacon. Wonderful smells. And now I've got the turn on the onions, I want to go in with all my garlic. So you see, it's a robust, gorgeous peasanty dish, this. Wonderful. Get a turn on the garlic, and then in goes the mushrooms, and we'll give that a stir and then turn the heat down really low while we're waiting for the chicken. The traditional recipe would have called for frying the chicken, but I prefer to do it my way. This way, it's easy, lazy, my way. And I'll turn that right down low now, so it's really low, and then we'll crank it up again once we get the chicken and the wine in there. And just keep it stirring so it doesn't stick to the bottom. And then the heat will relax. And just keep the heat under it, and what will happen is it will work really slowly on the onions and then turn them totally translucent until they start to become nice and soft and full of flavour. Okay, once that's slowed right down now, and it's slowed down to a very slow cook now, I'm going to put in my couple of sprigs of thyme, or about a teaspoonful of fresh dried thyme. That will do. Just stir it in. You can pick it out later, but it's a peasanty dish, so you know, I just leave it in, pick it out later. And I'll leave that to cook, open, stirring it occasionally until the chicken's ready to go in. So after about 20 to 25 minutes, the chicken in a very hot oven has come out, and as you see, it's touched along the outsides, and that's just how we want it. Okay, all that remains now is we need to transfer this into the pot and get the wine into there, and I'll show you the next stage. Alright, now you'll see the onions are rather translucent now, and everything, all those flavours are nicely intermingled, and we'll get all the pieces of chicken in now. Don't be shy of adding the bones to it. The bones are good because they're full, packed full of flavour. That's where all the flavour comes from, the bones and the fat. Boy, this is a big chicken. Once you've got the big pieces packed in, you can use the little bits and just pack them in around in the spaces. Makes life easier for you. Right, and very simply onto that I'm putting the whole bottle of wine. And as you see, that pretty much tops it up. And then I've just put some water in there, which I'll now top up to about that level with the chicken, and we bring that now to the boil and then reduce it to a slow simmer for about an hour. Okay, some of you are going to be wondering about alcohol and children. Well, this is going to be brought to the boil and it's going to be simmered for a long time, and at 74 degrees Celsius alcohol becomes a gas and it will all float away harmlessly, leaving nothing but the delicious red wine, chicken, garlic, onion, thyme, those kind of flavours behind for you to enjoy. And when you taste this, if you haven't had it up till now, when you taste it you'll be saying, where have you been all my life? It is amazing, this dish. It is a wonderful dish. I'm going to put the lid on now and simmer it for about an hour. Alright, lovely. Let's have a look at that. I'm going to give that a stir, and as you see that's cooked really nice and the chicken has got a lovely redness to it. Now what I've done is I've taken 4 heaped teaspoons of flour, ordinary wheat flour, and I've mixed it with some olive oil until it's a slurry like this. Now that goes into the coq au vin and that helps to thicken it up, and then we just stir that in and that starts to thicken it up straight away. Depending how thick you like it, you can always add a bit more, and you just return that back till it starts to bubble again. So we bring it back to bubbling, and then I want to taste it at this point for seasoning. Always taste as you go. That's delicious, but it needs a bit more salt. So taste and adjust. This smells wonderful in this kitchen right now. And because it's me, it definitely needs some more black pepper, so freshly ground black pepper. I'll let that simmer for a couple of minutes and then serve it up. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to follow my channel, please subscribe and be sure to click the bell icon to receive notification of all my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.